Hi, I'm Greg Bennett, and I'd like to invite you to a very special guitar workshop and acoustic fingerstyle concert at your local Greg Bennett guitar dealer. Now, the reason I got into doing these workshops years ago is simply to dispel the myth, or some of the myth, a little myth is good, but to dispel the myth that surrounds the way guitars perform or the way they sound. I've been in the industry, I'm a very fortunate guy, I've been in the industry for over 3 decades. And I've had the chance to meet some really talented players and some very famous players as well. And early on, I discovered that most of these players have really powerful opinions about what kind of guitar they like. Or even more specific, they know they love the way that black guitar in their collection sounds, that black electric, or they love that vintage acoustic instrument. As it turns out, though, they don't know why it sounds like it does. They can't articulate that. And we have a very similar situation on the sales side, where I've been in stores and watched really talented young sales guys explaining a piece of gear that might be highly technical, a piece of recording equipment or a mixing console. And they do just a brilliant job of helping the customer understand that. Then that same guy transitions to the other side of the store to sell a guitar, and we hear things like, "Oh man, that guitar is really cool, isn't it? And doesn't look great in black, and such an artist plays it." And you find that the sale is driven almost entirely by emotion. Not always, but it's usually the case. So the purpose of this workshop is to give you a knowledge base, an understanding of the instrument that will allow you to make a really comfortable, well-informed decision about what guitar is right for your musical needs and your musical challenges, as well as your budget. So whether you're just thinking of starting, you're a new player, you might be an electric player that's considering buying an acoustic, adding that to your collection, you might be thinking of trading up, and you might just be a player that already has an amazing guitar and you just want to find out why it sounds so great. So regardless of your needs, whatever your situation, the information you'll pick up at this workshop will be valuable for every guitar decision you make for the rest of your life. Now I'd like to fill you in on some of the highlights from the workshop, from the discussion portion. Most entry-level guitars, you'll hear the term laminated. They're made out of a laminated material. And so what is this laminated stuff? Where does it come from? How do we make it? And what are the performance benefits or drawbacks? And what does it sound like? And then if you've heard the term solid top, what does that mean? What does that do when the top of the instrument is solid? Also, would a particular player or a particular style be better served by a cedar top as opposed to spruce? So we'll let you know all about that. The sides and back of the instrument really are largely about tone. So in fact, they call them tone woods. You'll mostly see rosewood, mahogany, and maple used on the sides and back, and each of these materials has very different characteristics. So of course you get a very different sound out of each. Bracing, body size, finish, all have an impact on the way the guitar sounds as well. And so we'll discuss that. And all through this, by the way, we'll be trying to let you know what kind of player or what kind of style is best served by a particular material or a particular construction technique. Pickups, we'll talk about pickups as well. And this is an area where the difference in these pickups is extraordinary. You'll find that one device might serve you beautifully in the studio, but on stage it can be an actual nightmare. So we'll bring you up to speed on the benefits of those various devices. On the electric side, we'll touch on the key elements of design that affect that incredibly delicate balance between string performance and tone. And whether it's good or bad, there is a trade-off there. We'll talk about things that seem very simple, like headstock angle or neck angle to the body, that determine the string path geometry, and that in turn determines whether your string is very hot, whether there's a lot of attack and sustain, so we'll cover that. There are 3 basic categories of construction on electric guitars. These are the most common. One is a bolt-on neck, one is a set neck, or sometimes called a glued glued-in neck, and one is the neck through the body. And each of these construction techniques provide really, really different results in terms of performance and tone, how sharp or edgy the guitar is, how warm it is. We'll also cover materials. And materials are also very interesting because so much of an electric guitar has to do with the bridge and hardware, which is metal. But these woods do affect how the guitar performs in terms of attack and sustain. The wood will determine whether the string is able to maintain its energy and have that hot attack and sustain, or whether the wood acts like an energy sponge and pulls energy off of the guitar. I'll also be performing a dozen or so acoustic fingerstyle tunes, and which sometimes are referred to as finger picking or Travis style. But fingerstyle guitar, musically speaking, to me, is sort of like the universal solvent. Whether you play heavy metal or jazz or rock, or you're just a beginner, or maybe you're just into folk music, people just love this style because you're actually playing bass, chords, and melody at the same time. So it really is fascinating, regardless of the musical style you're into. There will also be a question and answer period, so any burning issues you want to have settled, I'll do my best to handle that. There will be some great prizes. Some lucky people will walk away with some tremendous gifts from the store. And you'll want to check on a location-by-location basis, but some of the stores, some of the events will have food. So think about it. The day is over, you get in the car, drive over to the store, have a few slices of pizza and Coke, enjoy the company of a bunch of like-minded people that love guitar and guitar music, and then you gain a knowledge and understanding of the instrument that will serve you for the rest of your life. Once again, this is Greg Bennett, and I'd like to invite you to join me for one of these wonderful events, and I'll see you soon.